everybody, I am a first-year family medicine resident, and today I am working from the comfort of my own room doing telemedicine. And I'd like to show you what telemedicine is in reality and kind of show you what my day is like when I'm working from home. Telemedicine sounded very cool to me before I started. I think like everything, it has its pros and cons. What I do enjoy about working from home is the fact that you're working from home. It's a comfortable environment, take things easy, and for those of us who have decision fatigue, it makes our morning really easy because we don't really have to put extra effort to get ready. You can actually take some time to relax in the morning, think about your day, plan out your day. So the pace is slower and more relaxing, I find, with telemedicine. And then the cons, I guess, is just the nature of telemedicine. It depends on who you are. There are people who prefer it because it's more efficient, it's faster, especially for the patient. But in the scenario where you get a more complicated patient, well, it makes the encounter a lot more impersonal and hard for us to assess how severe the situation is. And as you'll see throughout my day, I don't really have a lot of encounters via video. We do our visits primarily on the phone, which makes it even worse because you don't even get to see the patients. You can tell from their facial expression how distressed they are, how comfortable they are, and what they think of your approach. But without seeing their face, you really remove that big chunk of human interaction between you and the patients. I'm just gonna show you what my schedule looks like. We have our first patient at 8:45. We finished the day around 3. In total, we have 21 patients, and the pace is about 15 minutes per patient, which is pretty fast. But as a first-year resident who is just starting off, as this is my second week, I don't really have that time pressure just yet. So I'd like to kind of just get in a little bit before my first patient so that I can review my day with my preceptor. Then I can also just check the reasons the patients are here and read up on stuff if needed. So just a quick intermission here to explain how telemedicine works. Basically, during the COVID-19 pandemic, every patient at my clinic who makes an appointment with their family doctors will get a telephone encounter to start off. And I would say that in 75 to 80% of the time, we are able to help with their issues. We can actually do more than you would expect via telemedicine. We can take a history, we can order blood works and imaging, and we can refer to specialists or other services if needed. And in the case where we do feel limited in our assessments, we can always schedule another appointment via video if we want to see something, for example, a specific muscle movement or a skin lesion. And we can also ask them to come to the clinic in person for a more thorough exam. We do have a half-day per week slot dedicated to those in-person assessments at the clinic. And of course, in the case of emergency, then the telephone appointment is far from ideal. And we would really make sure that the patient knows it's an emergency and make sure that they do go to the emergency. So yeah, just a quick clarification here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. And to kind of back up my point and justify a little bit more why I personally do not like telemedicine, I had a patient who was actively suicidal on the phone with me. And of course, that wasn't the chief complaint, right? The patient came in not even for some mental health related issue, it was for headaches. They talked about their history of being abused, and when I brought up the question of suicidal thoughts, that's when it finally became clear to me that the patient was not doing well. They were in distress and they were actively suicidal, and I just really did not enjoy doing all of that on the phone and telling the patient that we're gonna call the ambulance and that they have to stay where they are. And for that kind of situation, I would be much more comfortable if we were in the same room. But on the other hand, if we think it from the patient's perspective, I can see how a phone call is much easier than presenting themselves to the doctor's office when they're feeling that way. So I guess that's why the suicide crisis lines exist, but I feel like I'm just not trained adequately to handle all situations on the phone. So it's a steep learning curve. I guess you'll see more as we go throughout the day. So yeah, this is what a typical day in telemedicine looks like for a family medicine resident. My day typically finishes pretty early, anywhere between a little bit before 4 to about 4:30, very rarely after 5 these days. Since the pandemic, we did see a decrease in the number of patients that we see every day. There is actually an interesting change in the patient presentation at the emergency department because people do fear to go to healthcare services these days. We actually see some interesting late disease presentations, which is quite rare in this time of medical technology and knowledge and the country that I live in. Yeah, things are changing, and I don't expect us to shift back to the normal family medicine clinic anytime soon, as we are expecting a second wave in the fall, winter time. So yeah, this is our new reality. Whether we like it or not, we have to work around it and help patient in any ways that we can. So I will end the video here. If you've made this far, thank you so much for watching my videos, and make sure you subscribe to my channel for new content. Cheers!